This is Dean Brezak, and I'm here to talk to you about the MP3 exam writing lecture you just got. I'm going to talk about a number of things related to the M.A.D study method and the system related to the M.A.D, the Memorize, Apply, and Dissertate. I'm going to talk about some of the materials you have, and also some additional materials that make the entire process a lot easier. First, this is all free stuff. You should have already read the Law School Manifesto, which explains in excruciating detail why the Socratic method doesn't work. That Socratic system is no good, never has worked, never will work. It's the difference between saying the earth is round and saying it's flat. The Socratic people are saying it's flat, it's not, it's round. Science is on our side. Listen, read, and reread the Law School Manifesto. Also, too, the Law School Case Briefing Manifesto we have as well. We've given that to you for free also. Again, listen to those, understand them. It gives you the underpinning of why you need to trust what we're telling you and do the material and do the work. So what's the deal? You've got your MP3 exam writing lecture, you get your exam writing books, and you get your Foldy's Law outlines. We'll go over that base material and how to use it. It's very simple. It's an iterative process. Your skill-based learning means you have to go over it over and over again and again and again. And as you go over it each time, your knowledge base and your abilities get bigger and bigger and bigger. So what happens? You listen to the MP3 exam writing lecture every 2 weeks. You do the things in it that you can remember. You do them for the 2 weeks. At the end of the 2 weeks, you'll have lots of questions. You listen to the lecture again, it'll answer those questions, plus you'll pick up a few extra little things, okay, in listening to the lecture the second time, and you do the whole process all over again. And it's do it again and again and again, and all you do, after about 8 to 10 times through, you should be fairly good at it. You get extremely good at the M.A.D system in about a year. But realistically, you're going to have to listen to that MP3 lecture at least 8 to 10, maybe even 12 times before it all sinks in. And it's a skill. It takes time to learn a skill. So you get your Law School Case Briefing Manifesto, which I'll just get out of the way there. You get your Law School Manifesto. And you also have some other materials. What I've got displayed now on my screen is the ROM Law product, which you may or may not have. If you don't have the ROM Law product, you have this same material that I'm displaying on the screen here in the Foldy's Law outlines. We make it very, very simple for you. Right there, right in front of you, is everything you need to memorize. I just so happen to have a partial screen on proximate cause on the ROM Law. There it is. Memorize it. When we say memorize it, it means being able to recite it from memory. So we give you all the law that you've got to memorize right there in the product, and you keep listening to the iterative lectures over and over again. You memorize for the 2 weeks. You accomplish the exam writing when you know a certain subset of skills, and you're not going to do that material anymore. You can always write exams on that material. Very simple systemology to follow. What we've added to it in recent years is the one thing that's important for you to understand is we added a newsletter. The system we have, the M.A.D system, is really, really good. The problem we were having is what's the difference between people that would get like 1A or all B's and 1A kind of deal, or just all B's, versus the people that were getting 3 and 4 A's and maybe 1 B, okay? So we have been looking at this stuff since 1989, and we talked to tens of thousands of people. And what we discovered is it's the difference between those two sets of people is how they approach their life. Okay? What do I mean by this? How good the person is at focusing. Okay? How good the person is at want power versus what the average person uses as willpower. Okay? Which doesn't have very longevity. Willpower is very tough. If you're going through law school on willpower, you're in a lot of trouble. If you're going through law school on want power, you got no problems at all, okay, if you adopt the M.A.D system. So what does the newsletter do? The newsletter we found over the last 2 years, we can take half to 2/3 of the people who were getting that 1A, all B's and 1A, we can take them And we can direct them to the abilities of the persons that are getting 3 A's and a B, all right, simply by reiterating some processes through newsletters. So we send you a newsletter every month. You read the newsletter and it refocuses you. We discuss some motivational topics like how to focus properly, how to understand the difference between want and willpower, which I talked about a little bit here, which we have a whole newsletter devoted to that you can actually do those things. When we say you should teach other people, we have a whole newsletter devoted to that reminds you as you're going through this iterative, boring process of learning the skill of exam writing. It refocuses you on the things that are important and also gives you better motivation, okay? Because that's what we're after. We're after getting you, getting the low-end people up enough that they're going to get A's too. And we do notice a difference already. In the last 2 years since we instituted the newsletter, we are getting many more people with multiple A's, okay? We have X number of people based on the systemology we have now about listening to the lecture every 2 weeks, about memorizing this stuff and doing the things the way we want you to do in the M.A.D method. But we found out too that if we motivate people and we focus them, and we put them on want power, okay, we found out we get 70 to 80% of the people now with multiple A's. So the number of A's we're getting is up dramatically from this, and we're very excited about it. And now the newsletter is also part of the system. You have to read the newsletters. They will come in the mail, the U.S. mail, not email, U.S. mail. Read them, focus, want, do what the newsletters tell you to do. So now some of you may have or may not have, all right, the ROM Law and the Dean's Law Dictionary. If you generally bought the ROM Law first year set, you've got what we're talking about. If you don't, if you just bought the MP3 exam writing lecture, you don't. You have this material here that I'm going to highlight, this proximate cause material here. You have that in the Foldy's Law Outlines. What you don't have is you don't have the Dean's Law Dictionary material, which we consider to be very important now related to how the system works. What are we talking about? Real simple. Before, and we still leave this in the lecture, the way you learn idiomatic law, if you had trouble with certain law, the way you learn idiomatic law is real simple. You go read horn books, you go read thousands and thousands of cases, you do your questions and answers and all this other things that we always recommend in the system. But the one tool we didn't have when we first wrote that in 1989, and really we didn't have this tool until around 2005, 2006, was you read these horn books, you read the mini horn books, which are the Emmanuel Law Outlines, you do large banks of questions and answers, you do tons and tons and tons of case briefs, as many as you possibly can. But now we have a different tool available for those of you lucky enough to have it. The Dean's Law Dictionary. This is amazing. Now we had proximate cause up there before. Okay, so we're going to type proximate cause in here. And I'm going to show you what it goes when a computer starts working here. Oops. Typed it the wrong way. There we go. Okay, so we type in proximate cause, and you can immediately see on the partial screen that you're seeing, and I'll scroll up here a bit, here's all the information on proximate cause. Now, how do we use this dictionary? Today, we use this dictionary as the primary learning tool for everything, okay? We don't really recommend briefing cases anymore because they're a big waste of time. The methodology that we use for the most successful students is real simple. You memorize the law in the law outlines, the Foldies, or the ROM Law online, law outlines online, and stuff like that in the ROM Law. And you just wrote memorization so that you could ask and answer the questions. Okay? Now, when you ask and answer the questions, how well you can answer the question is how well you've read through Dean's Law Dictionary over and over and over again and again. It's just that simple. Memorize the questions, ask and answer, How well you can answer the questions is how well. Now, if you read these articles here, these definitions on proximate cause, this is a very difficult area for all law students. It's extremely difficult for most professors to understand what proximate cause really is. And what we have here is we have the entire logic pattern for proximate cause in the outline, which is what you memorize. And then you come over here in the dictionary, and here are all the answers. And this, we make this statement, and it's very, very true, but it's not absolutely true. But we state it that way because it's the easiest way to state it. All the answers to every single bar exam, every single exam that's ever been given in law school is already in Dean's Law Dictionary. All you have to do is read Dean's Law Dictionary and you'll know all the answers. So what we add to the methodology these days for the folks that have it is real simple. When you write your exam answers, your practice exams, so you write your practice exam and you're done. Let's say your practice exam includes a section about proximate cause because it's on tort, or it's proximate cause because it's in criminal law, okay? And it's related to homicide. That's where proximate cause in criminal law falls into. So when you're finished writing your exam, you spend your hour, you write your exam, guess where the answers to your exam are? You can learn how pathetic your exam answer really is by going into Dean's Law Dictionary. Let's say you see the proximate cause stuff there. Here's felony murder stuff, okay? So I'm going to scroll this up here so you can see it on the screen. Here's everything there is to know about felony murder. If your essay was about felony murder, the minute you're done with your exam, what's the first thing you do? You go in here to Dean's Law Dictionary, you'll look up the areas in the exam that you discuss, and you read and reread Dean's Law Dictionary again, and you find out just how pathetic your answer is. Why is that so important? Because part of the process of complex learning is you learn the most when you make a mistake, and then you yourself correct the mistake. So in other words, you make a mistake, you write something very bad. You write an exam, it's the first time you ever wrote an exam on felony murder. What do? You're done, you look at your answer, look up Dean's Law Dictionary, go in the Dean's Law Dictionary, read and reread everything about felony murder, and I guarantee you all the answers for that exam will be in here. Killings by non-felons, the merger doctrine, non-killer's liability, the res gestae, all these things you should have talked about in your answer, okay, are in here. When you read them, you will immediately see the errors you made in your answer. It's self-critiquing. You will never forget those errors. You will never forget the material that corrects those errors. That is the most amazing and efficient way to learn complex idiomatic law. So you go to this proximate cause or felony murder or insanity. Okay, that's another one that's really, really difficult to learn. Okay, there it is. All right, everything about insanity, right here it is. Okay, massive detail. And the learning process now with this wonderful tool, Dean's Law Dictionary, that we have, is really cool. Because the learning process now involves memorizing the law. So instead of spending all your time with lots of questions and answers, which are good to do, and everything else like that, we also add in this read and reread Dean's Law Dictionary over and over and over again. Okay, that's the new tool we have. Read and reread Dean's Law Dictionary over and over and over again, and you will have superior knowledge. You will have superior information at your hand. When you write an exam, a practice exam, where are your answers for your practice exam? They're in Dean's Law Dictionary. If the practice exam is about offer, acceptance, and consideration, okay, here we go. We scroll up there. Here's everything you need to know about consideration. Go in here and read it and reread it, and you will see instantaneously, very quickly, very clearly, and everybody reports the same thing back to us. Yes, my answer was there and I screwed it up. I should have wrote about this, and I should have wrote about that, and I should have wrote about this. And you'll never forget that, and you'll always write about them in the future. That's the new twist we have on this. We have the two additional things. We have the newsletter to get better motivation out of people, okay, which is very, very important. The system doesn't do you any good if you're not motivated to use it and implement it. And then we have extremely good tools now. We have tools that don't exist anywhere else in the world, okay? These don't exist from any other source. It is impossible to find it. To give you an idea, okay, you go to felony murder. This one I know by heart because it's the one we use, but there's tens of thousands of these. The definition for felony murder in Black's Law Dictionary is perhaps that first paragraph that I just highlighted there. That's it. All the rest of this definition that you see here, okay, and all these other sub definitions that you see here, they don't exist in Black's. They don't exist. You're not going to learn anything from using these other inferior products, because that's what they are. They're inferior, crappy products. You reread Dean's Law Dictionary about felony murder, consideration, proximate cause, negligence, okay, all this stuff over and over and over again, and this is your primary learning tool, and you do that iterative process, and you listen to your MP3 exam writing lecture every 2 weeks, and you memorize the questions like we tell you to do, and then you do your practice exams, and then you self-grade your practice exams. You will have the superior ultimate system for learning the law. It's great stuff. Thank you for listening. Enjoy your product, work your butt off, and then tell us about your successes. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.